concentrating on my abusing lover and her babies. Baby, wanna ask you later for a ticket out of town. So can I get a window seat?
All right.
All right, we are back. We are back. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited. As y'all can see today, it's not a duo, it's a trio. We are super excited for this episode, but welcome back to another episode of Black Bougie and About It. I'm Abani Ayana.
And I'm Jessica Monique.
And today we have the most amazing human beings that I've ever come across in my life. We have the future doctor.
All right.
Herb, the future Dr. Herb on the line. And we just really appreciate him making some time for us today to join us on Black Bougie and About It, and hopefully give us some real raw and rich insight and conversation. Hopefully he'll keep me and Jessica from being toxic.
Are we the drama?
I know some of y'all clips I'll be like, woo.
See, I already know. See, I know, and he gonna tell us the truth. He gonna tell us about ourselves,
like,
and it's okay.
I like that.
Welcome it. We want it. We want somebody to come on here and check us. If we wrong, we could be wrong, or we need to look at a situation from a different viewpoint. You know, that's what we're here to do.
Always.
Yeah.
But first of all, we like to check in on the show. I always ask everybody how they're doing, what they've been up to. If everybody follows me on Instagram, y'all know I was outside this weekend. I was in Dallas. I went to go see Horrible Decisions podcast live.
How was that?
It was an amazing show. I ain't gonna get too detailed since we got Herb on the line. But it was an amazing show. If you're into like the whole kinks and BDSM and sex podcast stuff, and you haven't heard of Horrible Decisions, check them out.
Yeah.
It's two black women
also just really
doing their thing. Yes. It was just a really, really fun experience. I really enjoyed it. Shout out to Taylor or Tay Electronica if you follow her on Instagram. My girl, she went out there with me, and we had a wonderful time in Dallas. Downtown Dallas. I didn't know it was like as dirty as it was. I didn't know the homeless population was as high as it was. I was kind of very heartbroken. It was a lot of homeless people in downtown Dallas, like a lot. So
sometimes
I just was very unaware.
When you go to bigger cities, that's how it is.
Right. I just haven't heard, people be talking about Houston and Dallas. Go to Dallas, go to Houston, go to Texas, but ain't nobody said when you go to downtown, you got to watch every other side of the street because it's going to be a homeless person. And we're not talking about regular homeless people. Like, unfortunately, it was very obvious that a lot of them had some mental issues. So, again, it was very heartbreaking to be walking around. But also, I had a good time in Dallas. So, if you want to go to Dallas, but also be cognizant of what's going on.
That's kind of how New Orleans is.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, Albany, when I read your how you spell Horrible Decisions in Dallas, I was like, Lord, what we about to talk about today? Then I went to the next one.
No,
it was an actual
show. Yeah, no, it's not me. This is like an actual business podcast.
Yes, man, we put it out here like that.
To Charlemagne's network and everything. Like, no, I promise. Like, I don't even know what this is. No.
Then I went to the next slide, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It was. He was worried about me. He was about to call me on the line.
Girl,
so wait a minute.
Post this picture and it said Horrible Decisions like it was a great time.
I mean, I had a great time at the show. Yeah. But no, it was a good time. I had a good time. What about you, Jessica? How was your week?
Last week was good. I was off Monday and Tuesday because of 4th of July. So that was great. And then besides just getting work done and everything, I don't really have much else to share. I'm still working out, still trying to eat right, all the things. I work out.
Link up with her. You need to link up with. Her.
I work out with Varian, and I didn't ever notice until he did the men's thing with y'all a few weeks ago. And he posted it. I was like, oh, I know him. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's my chapter brother, man. I know VJ for a long time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He be killing us.
Birmingham is this small.
Yeah, he be killing us. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still doing it every week. But other than that, that's about it.
Okay. And how's life for you, Herb? Are you still in school? Are you like in school for the summer?
Yeah. It's different now because I finished my coursework, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's really
Shout out to that.
transitioning to like the writing stuff. So I've been pretty much on a little bit of on a real deal hiatus from school since the spring ended because finishing up that
Mm-hmm.
coursework was a beast, and I needed a break.
I bet.
And so I'll be cranking it back up here the next couple of days. What else, man? I'm gonna tell you the truth. I've been doing a lot of I've had more opportunities to do like speaking engagements, which is something like I'm really into. And so I did two this weekend, and I actually be in New Orleans, not this weekend, but the next weekend to go
Okay.
speak on a men's health panel at Xavier University. So it's really cool.
That's
Okay. And
dope.
you. All right. And
Okay.
anytime I've ever heard Herb speak, and anytime I talk to him, he says amazing things. That's the only word that I can even use. It's like amazing. He plants seeds and gems in your life for you to carry on and flourish. Okay. So we're glad that you're doing well. And again, we're happy that you're here. But we're gonna go ahead and get into this drama and some of the shenanigans
Wow.
and some of the things that have just been going on for the past week. And we're gonna go ahead and start off with what's been on everybody's timeline, everybody's
Mhm.
TikTok, Twitter, Instagram stories, the threads that came out. Follow me on Thread. I haven't posted anything because I still don't know the purpose.
I
But
need a tutorial
you
because
know,
I really don't know what's going on with
it's
that.
just Instagram's version of Twitter. That's it. That's why Elon mad right now,
Oh.
but
Oh,
we
okay.
don't care
Well,
about
I'll
them and
make
their
one just
problems.
to spite him.
But Mark Zuckerberg ain't no better, or
Oh,
isn't any better.
that's
Let
true.
me
That's
use
true.
correct grammar.
Nah.
That's true.
But anyways,
Kiki
we're gonna talk
Palmer.
about We're gonna talk about Kiki, Darius, aka the baby daddy, and Usher, because apparently people are saying that this is Usher's fault as well. So if you have been living under a rock or in a cave somewhere, or if you are a nomad hermit and you don't believe in being on the interwebs, last week on I want to say Wednesday or Thursday, I think the concert was Wednesday night, so all the news hit Thursday. But anyways, Kiki Palmer ended up going to the Usher show that's out in Vegas that everybody's been going to for the last year or so. Issa Rae's been there, Fat Joe's gone with his wife. All the celebrities have attended.
Mm-hmm.
And Kiki went up to the concert, and it seems like she was with her friends, for a nice, sexy evening out. And she had on a sheer dress with a black bodysuit, hair done, heels. Usher came up to her to, acknowledge her at the show like he does usually when the celebrities are there. And then he grabs her hand, they sing to each other for like 6 seconds, and then he goes on about his way and, show's over, whatever. The next day, Darius, who is Kiki's father of her child and partner, decides to take a screenshot of the video and say, "You a mom, it's the outfit." Or what did he say? It's the outfit though. You a
You a
mom.
mom. Yeah. He was
And
replying to somebody else's tweet.
okay. And then after that, he goes to tweet, "We live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mother of his kids to showcase booty cheeks to please others, and he gets told how much of a hater he is. This is my family and my representation. I have standards and morals to what I believe. I rest my case." So, of course, the internet proceeded to chew him
I
up
don't
and
think the
spit him
internet heard the
out.
second part as much as they did the first part.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we want to talk about everything because I can kind of see both sides, but I'm sticking with my sis. Duh. But I can see why somebody would say what he said. So the internet, chewed him up, spit him out. He deleted all his stuff and then came back a few days later, whatever. So we'll start with your perspective, Herb.
Yeah.
When you hear this, or when you read this, or when you came across it, what was your first response, or what was your first thought?
uh, them cheeks is out. That was first thing. Usher got
I
to be
mean, they
stopped.
was, She
I mean,
was.
he was. You know what I'm saying? Let me
Yeah,
say,
we can say that the cheeks was out.
the cheeks was
Yeah.
out. That's a fact. That ain't even nothing to it.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So let me preface this by saying, I was born in 1979.
Not
I
the
am 44,
1900s.
1900. I am 44 years old.
That's
So
not old. That's not old though.
I'm not saying I'm old, but I am saying I'm from a different era.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so for me to see that, that is outside of the norm I've been accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I also know that I see a lot of people on timelines or whatever, not so much in person, but, you know, timelines who, you know, dress that way. And so, you know, I guess it's a thing to where, first off, you got to take care of that in the house. Because you know, even if he was retweeting or responding to somebody else's stuff, you connected to her. So ain't nothing you doing under the radar.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And as you can see, one retweet and highlight, and here we are. And
Child.
so where it's if it's a private conversation, it's way different than a public conversation because there are no winners in this public conversation. And he definitely ain't the winner. But people have been coming at Kiki as well and coming at Usher. But you know, Usher Raymond, man.
I love it.
Look, I
love
don't
it.
even understand why they trying to put my good dude Usher into this. Like he being who he being and he gonna be who he
I
is.
love it.
But he didn't do anything inappropriate when singing to her.
Mm-mm.
He sang to her
Right.
like, you know, he was just like he was singing to Patti LaBelle and all this. Like it wasn't like he was like,
Right.
you know, I was watching Instagram reels earlier and it showed one of them clips of Janet Jackson when she brings the dudes on stage.
Yeah.
Like, now
Right.
listen,
Would you mind?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
now that'll break up a home. You know what I'm saying?
But I wouldn't even be mad. I would not be mad with my partner if we went to the Janet Jackson concert and Janet decided to take him on stage. I'm gonna be right there
I
with
think
my
it's
video
easy to say
camera
that
on
when
my
you
phone.
sitting here. When he
It's Janet.
time in his
It's
life,
Janet.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't
Janet.
care.
he'll
I
be
don't
having
care.
I'm not
his
Janet.
life.
Here.
He'll be having the time of his life, and his blessing is all get out. And
It's a
Yeah.
it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's not like if that happens, then he gonna be with Janet for the rest of his life. No, he at the concert, she pick him. Okay, he had a
I mean,
moment.
I get it, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that from a optic standpoint, what Janet has done with bringing people on stage looks way worse than what Usher
Right.
did. Like when I saw the whole video, it wasn't like he was over there like they, you know, dry hunching and
wasn't
everything and
grinding
doing all
on
this
her.
stuff. It was
Yeah.
really looked
Right.
like it really
A little
looked like
1-2.
how anybody was singing. It wasn't like, you know, the Five Heartbeats, but Eddie was singing the old girl and she passed out in the audience.
Right.
It wasn't like that, you know. So I think so from that standpoint, you know, like it didn't warrant that. He obviously felt the way about what she had on, but did he say something to her at the house before she left or whatever? Like, have y'all had any kind of conversations like this before? Was there ever an agreement? You know, but apparently, like he's like celebrated her dressing like that before. I guess in some of the previous social media posts. So
He's posted her topless, like she was covering up her, breast area when she was pregnant and she only had like some panties on. He's posted her like twerking her booty before. So, the message is a little bit confusing, from him because
And
it's
that's
like in one instance you celebrating her and then this instance you kind of shaming her.
And it's almost like he has this perception of some switch must flip now that you're a mom. And this is what my perception of what a mom should do as far as like how you present yourself in public. Now, I mean, is it like totally wrong to like think as parents collectively you got to move a little bit different? Nah. And he handled that completely wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like he handled that completely wrong. Like, is it if he would have had that conversation behind closed doors and said, look, hey, have a good time, do whatever. You singing on Usher, I know y'all ain't got nothing going on. And, for me personally, I would prefer, maybe not that in public. I mean,
Mm,
I don't think that's I don't think that's I think that's a reasonable request and worthy of a conversation that y'all two figure out.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but when you take it that route, it ain't no room for reasonable request or conversation. It's straight
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you coming at me? Well, internet take over kind of thing. And there's no
Yeah.
room for nuance, no room for context or anything.
Mm-hmm.
We know that from text messaging in general. Ain't no context in text messaging.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, it's
I
probably
kind of initially thought he was playing when I saw it. Like, I really didn't even take it that serious because he has
Right.
posted pictures and
yeah.
stuff with her before. So when I
Mm-hmm.
saw it, I thought he was like trolling her, like he
Yeah,
was
it was the second
saying,
tweet when I knew
yeah.
he was serious,
The
when he was
second,
talking about morals and
yeah,
standards. And I'm
and I
like,
think that was just after like people been like probably just throwing tweets his way, so he felt like he had to defend himself. But
mhm,
I really didn't even feel like her dress was that bad. Now the cheeks was out, but I
right.
don't know. It wasn't giving like she never gives me hoochie though. She never looks like slutty. Like some of the
Nasty.
girls be giving, whew, they be
that
giving.
little sheen over it just added a little class to it, right?
I mean,
No,
she just
it's like how
no,
you
she
carry
just
yourself, how you
yeah.
present
I
yourself.
playing dope
I
Yeah,
fiend.
feel like
Yeah.
you in Vegas. You in Vegas.
yeah, she
You
out
at
with
the
her
Usher
girls.
concert. You
Yeah,
out with your girls. I'm
yeah,
gonna do a little one too. And she
yeah.
just had a baby like 4 months ago, and she looks great.
And
Yeah.
she
Like
been
where?
wearing stuff that like's been accentuating her new body anyway. So that's why I'm like, well, I mean,
I,
she out with the
yeah.
girls. You gonna give the girls a little wiggle. But I feel like it was lame and kind of goofy for him to say that online. I was like,
It felt
especially
very malicious.
after they just had the whole little clip go viral with her saying like she would never address somebody in public, the Summer Walker thing, when she was saying
Mhm.
like she would never address another girl like in public and all that, and then he brought this and like made this public, and I was just like, that was so dumb. That was so dumb. But there it is. I kind
I
of
don't even think it
hate.
was dumb. All of this felt very intentional. I feel like there had to be a conversation beforehand, which is why he felt so moved to even bring the situation to the internet.
I don't even think it's like like it's that deep. It's kind of like when you getting ready to go out somewhere and your man
Hmm.
see you and he like, dang, where you going looking good like that? And then you in
Hmm.
here talking about something. I be your groupie, but at the Usher concert, oh you excited to see Usher? Like it
You
just
just
felt
getting
like
going. Now you're getting serenaded. Now hold on.
yeah, like now it just felt like one of those things. And honestly, if your man really like you, you kind of want him to be like, dang, you got your little outfit on. Where you going? I need that kind of energy sometimes. It didn't feel like, oh, I'm trying to tear her down on the internet like Dr. Umar
It
or
felt
something.
like
It
that
didn't
to
feel
me.
like,
It felt very
like
much so like
the
that to
black
me
man can't
because of the
tell a
clip.
black woman. It just didn't feel like that to me. And it's become like this whole like think piece, like
It's the
the
social
woman
justice
can't
movement
wear
now.
what the woman wanna wear.
It's not that. It's just it
I
was
know
given he was trying to
it feels like
embarrass her and shame her. Cause
Well,
it's the outfit, you a mom. That's a shame. It's like you a mom, you're not supposed to wear sexy stuff and be sexy and feel
yeah.
your body. That's how it comes across.
but that's the thing though, the context, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You got 4 words, and people have
Mm-hmm.
created
Mm-hmm.
a whole think piece and dissertations and articles and
Exactly.
whole shows out of 4 words.
Like 2 weeks
And
ago, they was the perfect couple. And
yeah,
now he's so toxic. She's gonna break up with him. How long do you think this is gonna last? Like, I ain't
I
gonna
ain't
break up
saying
with a
all
nigga
that.
over
I
a
just
tweet
said
now.
it felt malicious to tweet the business out and send it out to the world. That felt malicious.
one person called him a sperm donor after that. And I was like, man, that is pretty
No,
extreme.
I
Like,
feel like
yo,
all of this was
there's
very intentional. I'm not saying all of that. I feel like, whatever they had going on was a very intentional thing, relationship. They might still be together. We don't know. We ain't in them people's house. What I'm saying is just to tweet my business out there after we've had a
Mhm.
public conversation that I don't want my business out there seems kind of fucked up. I'm sorry. Like that seems like some intentional kind of mean shit to do. That seems mean. That's all.
yeah.
I think it was like a in the moment type thing. Like everybody see you online, Usher handing you the mic. Oh, so you singing with Usher now. It just felt like one of them little things like, Oh, so you out there having fun with your little corset on with your friends in Vegas. You a mama. You know,
Having big fun.
it felt like that.
Having
It
big,
didn't feel like
Having
a
big fun.
mean thing.
yeah,
Like
big
it ain't
fun,
feel like
Vanessa.
it ain't feel like that to me. I feel like people just be blowing stuff up so bad. Like, why y'all want that girl to break up with her damn man that bad? I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that
So
bad.
if your man, since y'all saying this, people who, cause I'm single, so ain't nobody gonna tweet about me. But people, you're married. So if your wife got on Facebook, she might not be on Twitter, got on Facebook and was like, this man or husband of mine gonna think da da da, or started telling y'all business, how would you feel?
I mean, and not for me to like it, but it also mean like this is like the death blow either. I think people,
Exactly.
I think people like see stuff like this and their immediate reaction is like, from the peanut gallery, this is what I would do and this extreme thing should happen. When in reality, it's like, what relationship you got that ain't got some messed up stuff to it? With somebody that went and talked to your mama too much and then told your uncle too much about the family, what's going on inside the house, or then overspent the money, or then talked about your relationship at work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay, it happened, and they can choose to be fine. Like, this ain't like you can move
Yes.
on from this. And plus, they are in the public eye. If you can't get past public eye stuff, then your relationship shouldn't be in the public eye like that. I think it's not that it's okay. I think it's some of those things where it's like you're dealing with two human beings and they're not going to handle every situation perfectly. It doesn't mean that, all of a sudden you went from like, you're this awful person or whatever and yada, yada, yada. They could have been arguing for a few weeks behind the scenes. And guess what? How many relationships have you been in where the argument lasted more than 20 minutes and it went on for, we just been cordial for a week, but we still mad at each other? I think that stuff is normal. But in our world of like viewership, we see it like, 2 weeks ago, y'all was posting this way, and now you doing this, and now you doing that. And it's like, all right, then, but they got a whole child together. Something been right for a while, seemingly.
Right. That girl ain't finna leave her baby daddy over no damn tweet. That's
it's like,
crazy talk.
Yeah.
That's crazy talk.
I'm not saying, I did say, all I said was it felt mean. If somebody did to me, I'd be like, that was some mean shit.
And you're right, it might have been mean, but guess what? If you've been in a relationship, had done something mean before, you probably ain't been in a relationship for real. Because you know what I'm saying?
And we've said this before on the show.
Yeah, if you ain't done nothing mean before, man, I'm sorry.
I ain't been with nobody since I was 19, so.
Well, you ain't, hey, thing is, in any kind of
and
relationship,
it would be a deal breaker for me, but that's just because I don't want my business.
I feel like, you know how when it used to be like a trend when guys be wearing the gray sweatpants and stuff, and girls be like, "Where you going out the house with the gray sweatpants on?" Or like when guys get a haircut and they be like, oh, "You got a haircut? Where you going with the boys with the haircut?" Like, it gave me that kind of energy. It just didn't feel like a big deal, like a problem like that. Like, they've been arguing behind the scenes and it was like a malicious thing because he was being petty, then that's probably some behind the scenes stuff they need to handle. I do feel like it was lame for him to tweet that. It was very much goofy, but I just didn't. I don't feel like that's something I'd walk away from my relationship of, like, however long they've been together, years, not over no bad tweet. And they're gonna have probably way more other times where they're gonna be in the public eye, probably for worse shit. So I feel like this is like nothing. Like, this is probably nothing compared to whatever is gonna happen, but I don't think that's worth like walking away from. And honestly, she benefiting from it. She just put out an album. Her podcast episode just dropped today. He's on the podcast episode talking about being in a relationship.
For this topic,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like with celebrities, anyway,
he's on the newest episode that dropped.
Yeah, but that was probably already taped and
capitalism.
Oh,
yeah.
Think about
she had
Jay-Z,
Raven Simone and her wife on there,
and Beyonce.
Oh, look, I didn't know about him being on the most recent podcast episode.
Yeah,
like
Raven
the one
Simone
that dropped today, the one that I'm a mother. The I'm a mother one today.
This one is about being in a relationship in the public eye. And
so that's not the most recent one then. Okay.
So
the most recent one is I'm a mother. That's why I was like, the one that dropped today. I was Right.
It's
I don't think he's
I
going
guess
nowhere.
maybe the network or whatever, they just put it back up or something today because
it's
I
time.
listened
It's a
to it.
timely drop. That's for certain.
Yeah. But
You know,
they
but
had Raven Simone and her wife on there, and they were talking about like being in a relationship with a high profile person, and like the
Mm-hmm.
world doesn't really know them. And they was on there kicking and laughing and joking and having a good time. I'm like, you just never know how things are going in the celebrity world. Like they could have just like trying to do something to stay trending for right now. But nah, I don't think black people need to be divided no more on what other people doing in their relationship.
Okay.
you
I'm
know,
sick of
Well,
it.
I tell you it's
that's
funny.
the end
Like
of that one.
I tell you it's funny though. You think about the timely drops of like podcasts and ads and stuff like that in the midst of
Yes,
like some kind of like relationship drama. You think about
Mm-hmm.
Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. You think about Jay-Z, Beyonce. You think about a few
yes.
people where it's like, and here comes this album. Like, you know,
By the way,
I mean,
and
no,
at the
her
same,
album came out weeks ago, but yes,
I'm
I
talking about
understand.
what happened a long
So,
time ago with Jay-Z and Beyonce. 444 and all that stuff, man. Like,
oh yeah,
like
yeah. Now that, yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
So it's just,
Mhm.
I mean, listen, Kiki Palmer been popular since Tequila and the Bee, like big popular.
Correct.
Period.
This
Exactly.
dude, I mean, I think he's like a backup dancer or something like that. I don't know. And
I think he's like
No,
a up and
he's
coming
the
actor or
yeah,
something.
he's the little brother of Dro who was on Insecure. If
exactly, I
anybody
Mhm.
don't know
watched,
who he is.
if y'all watched.
So
Yeah, we
the
don't know.
thing, the
Exactly.
We
thing
don't know.
is, you know, her exposure to this is way different than his.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And so where she wouldn't be phased by this, you know, I mean, he
Hmm.
obviously was, and he mishandled the situation at least publicly through the tweets. Um,
Yeah.
well, you know, and the hilarious thing about it is that while majority of the Twitter sphere has been coming at this guy, it's people been going at Kiki as well because you
Hmm.
know people's personal opinions and values get in there and they think about what is considered appropriate dress. And the thing
Mm-hmm.
is like you got to look at what do you consider appropriate for you, or if you're in a
Exactly.
relationship with someone, y'all having a conversation about like, yo, I'm cool with this, I'm not cool with that, and I think that's okay. And if it's not
Mm-hmm.
okay, then y'all got to make your own decisions outside of that.
Yeah.
But but this is just it's people making decisions outside of the relationship, on the relationship, but it happens on a small scope as well. When you think about how families get involved with relationships, and you shouldn't be with this person, the X, Y, and Z, because they feel a certain way.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Or if y'all have a history and they've decided they don't like this person, but y'all work through it, and they still hold on to how they feel about that person based on that one on a single incident. And so, it's just it makes for good conversation. I love to hear Charlamagne talk about Usher must be stopped because it's hilarious.
He's so
That
funny.
comes from the two captains of the cheating committee. I love when Charlamagne and Envy chime in on stuff, and I'd be like, didn't y'all just stop being toxic 3 years ago?"
But just because you did don't mean you can't get your opinion or like you
Yeah,
don't know what you
Oh,
talking
I'm
there's
not
no
saying
about.
they
problem with
can't give an
that.
opinion. I'm just saying, how you gonna point the finger at Usher when you have been in things as well? You didn't been entangled. That's
Well,
all I'm
shit, if you
saying.
been
Y'all
there,
in
you
the same
probably know what
club.
it look like. You probably the expert. I need to hear what they gonna say.
I think
Hmm.
it's funny. It brings humor to the situation, and you know, it was one of the little Instagram comedians I be watching his reels, and he was just like, he just, it's just like he started laughing at Usher too. And but I mean, when I saw the whole video versus the one single still shot
Yeah.
of Usher
Hmm.
looking at her like, woo, with the microphone in his hand, when you freeze
Hmm.
frame that, it's like, man, Usher foul. And that's all I saw for like a whole day. Then I saw the
Oh,
whole
see,
thing of
yeah.
him singing. I'm like, man, you can
Hmm.
freeze frame anything and make it look crazy.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
Yeah.
saying? Like, and that's where it's like, man, it's great for conversation. And when it comes to like dialogue about it, it's like, okay, you know what? Two things can be true. And the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is
Mhm.
that In this situation, it's true that she it's her body and she deserves to wear what she wants to wear. And it's a concert and she didn't do anything wrong. And in the right context, he can be like, I prefer you not wear that.
Yeah.
It's just it wasn't handled in the public sphere of the right context.
Right.
I don't think that makes him a bad, controlling, toxic person just on that one thing that I saw. And I ain't never seen nothing from this dude before, and I probably would never see nothing from him again, or at least know it's him. And so it's not going to be like for me like the death blow of like, oh, he's done now, he's over. It's like
yeah, I didn't know him before, don't know him now. I just again felt like it was me.
We took that to the internet,
and that was the summary of it.
You got it.
Man.
Oh, now moving on to another celebrity situation. Now, normally we don't talk about the Caucasians over here on the show. We let them handle their business on the other podcast. Normally, we just allow them to handle their business over there on their side of the street. But I thought that this was a pretty interesting not even just situation in general, because a lot of people were calling this situation emotional abuse. And Jonah Hill and his ex-girlfriend situation, where his ex-girlfriend Sarah Brady decided to get on the internet and share some of their text message exchanges, where she stated that, is this what setting boundaries look like? And then the internet proceeded to basically say that this was emotional abuse, and how Jonah Hill was this bad person. Just a similar situation where we get a piece of information and then the internet turns it into their own story. I'm going to read the message just for reference. So the message states, plain and simple, and this is from Jonah Hill: if you need surfing with men, boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, friendships with women who are in unstable places, and from your wild recent past beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful, I am not the right partner for you. If these things bring you to a place of happiness, I support it, and there will be no hard feelings. These are my boundaries for a romantic partnership.
Recent past is ooh. What that mean? What are you implying?
First of all, I think we need to state that this is not emotional abuse.
Yeah.
I don't think this is emotional abuse. I don't think this is emotional abuse. I think that was dragging it. I think that was definitely people who have never been emotionally abused talking about emotional abuse. I can show you some text messages that's some emotional abuse that I hurt your feelings.
Jesus.
But I don't think this was abuse. But I do think that this is a good thing to talk about the difference between a boundary and a preference, or are they one and the same thing? And when should these things be talked about when you are in a relationship, or is it something that can be always talked about? Is a boundary something that can change over time? And I think this will be excellent for her to start off the conversation on this, because I'm sure he's had several conversations in explaining to people how to set a boundary and what a boundary is.
Let me tell you something. So boundaries are built off preferences. Those can change over time. But what I'm okay with now at 44, I may have felt different at 20, and at 25 and at 30. What I had judgment towards in my early 20s, I have a different way of thinking about it now. And it's not always like, because when I was younger, I felt like I was more conservative in certain areas that I may be more moderate in now. So it's not always like becoming more conservative or what have you as you get older, but even shifted in different ways. When the relationships, you don't end up dating the same person or being in a relationship with the same person that you met initially, especially if it's over a significant period of time. All right. Or if your desires for what the relationship looks like changes. So it's fun and it's free, but all of a sudden it's like, I want something settled and committed. And that person don't have settled and committed behaviors, then it's like, is this for me? I think it's different when it comes this way from a guy than from a woman, from like, what you stereotypically think how these conversations would go and who it would come from. Now, some of the text messages, if you read through it, it's like, because I have it pulled up right here. Like, surfing with men, okay.
Apparently, she's a surf
she is a
instructor.
surfer.
This is her job. This is her way of getting income.
So it's like, okay,
yeah,
boundarily inappropriate relationships with men, or boundarily less inappropriate. Now that can be up for debate. To model, okay, cool, you're a model. To post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit or post sexual pictures, again, a preference. And friendships with women who are unstable in places.
Now that's the one that got me.
Like you got some wild friends. Right. You got some wild friends that's dragging you down, and you won't separate from them. The thing is that if you read through it, can aspects of it look sort of controlling? Yeah. Can it express his expectations? Also, yeah. Is it emotionally abusive? Like, I don't, it's like, because is it like an ultimatum? Either you stop doing this
do it or not.
Me, or pretty is it much. Just like, what, you know what? This is what you want to do, so I'm cool just being me. Because at the end of the day, it's like, in any relationship, when has it ever worked out when the ultimatum was issued?
Never.
Like,
never.
So I, emotional abuse, like, that seems like a reach. That seems like a reach.
It was a little crazy because it's like if Albany started dating somebody and they be like, well, I don't want you to be on the podcast with other men.
Right, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Then why are we here? You know what I'm saying?
That should be decided day one. Yeah, cool. We ain't gonna be together.
Yeah, like
please tell me day one that you don't want to talk to somebody with a podcast because you don't want your business talked about. Because let me tell you something. I ain't gonna go in detail, but I definitely will share certain situations if I feel like they can enlighten and help somebody. And if that's not your float your boat, then I understand. But it's like, don't date me for 3 months and tell me, I don't like how you get on the podcast and be talking because I've been talking.
Yeah, that obviously, like,
that's a little crazy.
I'm gonna tell you something and it's been a long, long time. I've been married 15 years. And with my
Say it again. Black love. We support black love over here. I know last week I was talking about a white man, but we ain't gonna have to worry about that no more. We ain't gotta talk about it.
But listen, I would say this. All right. I know in my younger days, there were people that I would be like willing to date simply because of like the excite factor. Because I grew up like real churchy, I grew up, my grandparents and my mom, so it was definitely like a lot of tradition there. And then, but when I get to like somebody who is like, even when before I got to college, was like on the other end of the spectrum in any form of fashion, it's like, yo, this is intriguing. But then also it's like, but beyond it being intriguing, is this someone I would want to like really, really, really be in a relationship with? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like once that wears off.
Yeah. And so you can't expect to be like, all right, then the newness wore off. Now I need you to change who you are so you can be with me. That ain't fair to that person. Like you should, you can't get caught up in the moment and think like, well, down the road, they're going to change. Like that's not going to happen. Or I can just, if I just stay around, he'll just kind of change or she'll kind of change what they think. No, it's like who you met is who you met. If she was posting when you met her and you don't like posting, then guess what? She gonna keep posting.
And she did post some receipts that before they started dating, he was under them bikini pictures with the hard eyes. He was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. He got
you gonna marry an actual surfer, like somebody who's a surfer for a living, who has to wear bathing suits for a living? What, she's supposed to go out there in the basketball shorts and a t-shirt now?
Because she wear them long sleeve things. They're supposed to wear them long sleeve things.
Listen, that stuff be so tight. It don't. Listen,
the wetsuit.
You ain't in everyday clothing every day out there. That's
right. You definitely showing something. You showing something.
Yeah, you get with an actual surfer and then you're like,
so do you think
I don't want you to do that no more. That's weird. was
Do you
weird.
think the age difference plays a part too? Because she is about, I think, 25, 26, and Jonah Hill is 39.
Yes.
Definitely.
Like I told y'all, I was born in 1979.
Let them know.
and look, I work at a college, so I'm on the cutting edge of things
Mm-hmm.
in society.
Mm-hmm.
And even still, my age kicks in because I can see something and be like, "Yo, dude, what you got on?" You know what I'm saying? Like I've said something to some of my students before, like, "God, can't go to class like that." But I look around and like 95% of the campus is dressed like that, and I'd be like, "Well, you know."
Mm-hmm.
So I understand like there is a
Mm-hmm.
gap that's there.
Mm-hmm.
But that stuff looks cool until now you trying to make that your permanent situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because the mindset can be is like, well, we're gonna start here, but once we together, we're gonna start shifting this way. And
Yeah.
that person's kind of like, yo, you that old, I'm this old, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to be
Yeah.
over there with you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Some of the older dudes, I want them to go ahead and try like talking to people around their age. Like,
I
cause
ain't
a
gonna
lot
say
of
nothing. Y'all know I
conversations,
love me a pop pop. Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at pop pops in them, and I'm not mad at those checks. I'm not mad at that. But when it comes to stuff
I'm
like
here for a
this,
good time, not a long time. But
but
see, I ain't
it's
trying
like,
to marry Pop Pop either.
yo,
yeah,
That's
when it
the
comes to
thing.
stuff
I'm
like
not trying to
this
marry Pop
though,
Pop.
you want to be with the 25-year-old girl, but when she come out the house with her little Fashion Nova fit on, now you mad. Well, what you thought she was gonna have on?
And
It's
you
like,
met her in that Fashion Nova feet. That's what be
yeah,
getting me. It's
it
like, if
don't
you
make
met me in the
sense.
Fashion
yeah,
Nova, why you want me to now start wearing,
She got to be in a
I don't know,
pantsuit.
Banana Republic or, New York and Company.
Yeah, because they
I
had
was wearing
matching
Fashion
suits
Nova.
on. They had matching suits on at the I think it was the You People premiere. They had the same suit on. Pretty sure that was his idea. Get that
And
shit out of here.
somebody said his V cut was lower than hers.
It,
And
and
I
it
scrumped.
was.
The scream I scrumped. Oh my goodness. They was like,
listen,
you saw all his chest.
The
I was like,
decollete. Get on. Nobody want to wear that. Let that girl wear her
oh my
swimsuit.
goodness.
you
So
know,
I
go ahead,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No,
You know,
you go ahead.
I would say, I think along with that too, because of course it's a lot of guesstimation that goes on here because we don't know
Mm-hmm.
the extra stuff, but the fun stuff is also filling in the gaps, whether it be
Mm-hmm.
assumptions or not.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there was some conversation before the text message that
Mm-hmm.
maybe was like, okay, maybe it's some agreed upon like conditions that they both said, okay, we'll do this, this, and this, but yet
Mm-hmm.
and still something continues. Because
Yeah.
the first thing
Mm-hmm.
isn't the text message. The first thing is
Right.
conversations or let's talk through this or whatever. And, so then you get to the text message. And for everybody else, that's the first thing we see. So it's like we try to wrap it all
Mm-hmm.
up in that one thing.
Yeah.
And just like the last conversation, it's like the first thing we see, they didn't had several conversations before that, I'm sure. And
Right.
so at that point, it's like, all right, then cool. If this is what you want to do, then this ain't cool with me. Now he probably could have took out a few of them bullet points because it really wasn't helping the argument. It looked real petty. You want
Right.
to take pictures, like you know what I'm saying? Come on.
Come on
He was
now.
like, I'ma just let it all out right now. I've been holding it all in. I'ma just let her know
Man.
every little
Yeah,
thing I don't like. And it is what it is.
I'm
but
not
it
gonna
really,
lie, the plain and simple at the top, that
yeah.
got me weak.
Listen,
He
we
had
ain't,
his
we ain't, ain't
assistant
no,
write
Man,
this. He was
ain't
talking and
no
somebody else
filter.
was writing. And they
he
was
Yeah.
just
was
like,
fed up.
So he was over there unloading, and they was like,
Yeah.
we're gonna sift through this.
Ain't no ifs,
Now,
ands, or buts.
so if I read that just as is, I would say most of that stuff is kind of nonsensical and just petty, but inappropriate relationships with men and the female friends who are like really not healthy for her or whatever
Mm-hmm.
were probably the two
Mhm.
things where it was like, you know what, other stuff is okay, but every time this person come around, you get wild or you get different or you whatever, or I keep going to your
Mhm.
phone and we keep finding these things, but it's and I mean, and if you're in a relationship, you know, I think those are reasonable things. Like when I got married, like, my friend group had to shift because I had guys friends who were like single and chasing. So for me to go to the bar with you, you know what I'm saying, and you don't have respect for my relationship, because some people will put you in positions, then it's like, you know what, I can't move like that unless it's a group of us and there's other married folks there. Then I can't be out here with y'all like this. And my best friend one of my best friends in college got married when we were still in college. Well, he had graduated before I did, but we were super close, and we was at this little like men's get together, whatever, with some older dudes. I was just giving us some game, and one of the guys was like, "Look, y'all best friends, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, He said, "Well, that's about to change." He said, "You married?" And I was like, "Nah." He said, "You about to get married?" I was like, "Nah." He said, "Well, then what y'all gonna be doing?" And I was
so
like,
you telling me when Jessica get married, we ain't gonna be friends no more?
I'm just saying it changes things, but it depends on how.
I gotta hurry up and find the man. Jesus.
It does. I mean, so because there's things me and my wife can do with a couple group that we can't do with single friends. There's things we can do with friends who got kids that are close to the same age as ours than friends who don't have kids who are close to the same age as ours. Like if you got a 17-year-old and I got an 8-year-old, our kids ain't doing nothing together. You know what I'm saying? But we both got 8 to 9-year-olds, then our birthday party's about to be lit. Like one of my line brothers, I see him more than most of anybody that I hang out with because our wives are best friends. Well, his baby mother and my wife are best friends. I didn't say baby mother, the mother of his child.
Mother of his child.
and then we all went to college together, but our oldest daughters are the exact same age. And then so it's like, and then so he gonna be at every birthday party, I'm gonna be at every birthday party, and then my youngest, they're gonna come to that one. Like it's just it does.
Y'all got more in common anyway.
Our lives align differently. All right. And that's just what it is. So it's like if me and you in this situation and it's like, all right, cool. Some of the stuff I can deal with and we can work through this or whatever. This is your prerogative. But at the same time, it's like as a respect thing, when it comes to some of these inappropriate conversations or like, some of these like friendships you carry, like there's got to be something with that. I've had people I've known that'll complain about a friendship, but then straight up be around them people the next day or two. And then come complain about how bad these friendships are, how toxic they are, how but then stay around them. And so I think all of what he said, those two things were probably the most important things. And if it were me, of course, those two things could be deal breakers. Because if I'm in a relationship with you, it ain't an isolation.
Yeah.
Like if I do not like your family, we cannot get along, then it's going to be hard for this relationship to survive. I mean, it just is what it is. If you got friends that I just can't stand, like what if you got a friend and they always chasing and they need you to run interference for them all the time? You know what I'm saying? You might not be doing anything, but every time you out, you running interference.
I feel like women don't be having them type of problems.
Okay.
Maybe let me speak for me or my friend group because
I have had a friend that like my boyfriend didn't like, and it was because he could see like how she was moving, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't like her. You really need to be hanging out with her." And I was like,
"Are you still friends with her?"
But it's not because he didn't want me to be friends with her. We just kind of like we kind of fell out or whatever. But I will say he was right. Like when he was like, I feel like she's kind of jealous of you. Like I could see how she be like looking or when y'all talking. I'm like, I don't feel like that. Like that's my homegirl. Like whatever. He was like, oh, okay. Like I don't like the energy. But he was right. He was right. But he never was like, you don't need to be friends with her. He just told me how he felt about it. And I knew if I was gonna hang out with her, or I really didn't invite her to like group stuff we did with his friends or whatever. Because I knew he didn't want to be around her. So
but those are the complexities of relationships, right? Like I've had people that, my wife has been like, I don't know about them. You know what I'm saying? I just don't vibe with them. And it's like, you know what? All right, cool. It's just like I can get it. and or you got people who just don't really respect the relationship the way they need to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, okay, if I'm out at the hookah lounge with 3 of my fraternity brothers, and 2 of us married, 1 of us ain't, but he bring a group of women over there, like, bro, what is you doing?
Yeah, that's reckless. That's so
I mean,
Yeah.
reckless.
because he might not be doing anything but smoking hookah and having a couple of drinks and talking.
Right, but the
But
wrong
Yeah.
when
picture or the
but when the
wrong
picture come
angle
out
or anything, yeah.
Yep.
and you looking like Usher holding that microphone, standing,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
Taking a
it's just
You
picture.
a
like,
dad though.
uh,
You a dad.
You a husband
you
though.
supposed to be here with these kids. Like, I've been doing these jokers all week. I can't
Look.
come out. You know what I'm saying?
And you
Like,
know how men be. Y'all gonna be in the picture like this.
Having a good old time.
Having a
Having a
good
great
time.
time. Suckling it
Having a
up.
you
good
might tell
time.
me a joke and I do like this, but then you take that picture and look at
And
it.
she
It's like,
dancing, and all you
Every
see is
time.
backside, and you see
Every
her face like,
time.
and oh,
so
Okay, now
I
your
think
wife
it's,
like,
see it
and
now.
what is
I can
this?
see it now.
I'm like, it's like, get the video.
I got the proof. See, I was just at the lounge. I was just at the lounge.
It's a bad
Yeah.
angle. It's a bad angle. But that's the thing, though. It's like, I think it's okay to like, and it's okay for both of them to be like, all right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's wrong. Like, having boundaries about what you want in a relationship it doesn't make it abuse. Now, if it's like, you got to cut off your family and you got to do this and you got to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, then it's like, all right, hold on. Or I'm taking you from your friends, this, that, and the
Yeah.
third. Hold on. Like, I think, it's more nuance to that than just what this message says.
Yeah.
Correct.
And if we're not careful, I mean, and I think we're already like shifting towards that is, anytime or in a lot of cases when people don't hear what they want to hear, then a label's going to be attached to it to, make you out to be the worst person ever. I mean, that's just, and these labels get tossed out because we're in a cancel culture. And so as people have grown up in this cancel culture over the last couple of years, where at one point it was like the new thing, now it's the norm, and it's in there like, everyday lexicon, then it's like everything can be canceled at the drop of a hat. And I'm gonna tell you something. Depending on what the situation is, a lie can ruin a person's life and no truth attached to it.
Man.
Only
Y'all know
the
who I want to
desire
talk
to see.
about, but I ain't gonna
Yeah.
bring it up. I ain't gonna bring
Yeah,
it up. We ain't gonna talk about it right now. We ain't gonna talk about it right now, but y'all know who I want to bring up. We be talking about it, but I ain't gonna say
so
nothing.
it's just like, so it don't take
Just-
much for, especially when, people may weaponize a skin color or a gender or an identity against somebody. Like, those things we got to be like really, cognizant of and careful of, because, I mean, people would, people try to take people out, and it's not, so it's so you got to be careful in how we like throw these labels out, or just really like filter through these things. Like, if I'm reading that message and I've been emotionally abused and I've been in these toxic relationships, then I'm reading it through the lens of the abuse.
Your pain.
So when I read through the lens of the abuse, I'm going to pull out everything that could potentially be abusive and be like, yep, checks all the boxes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if I haven't had that experience, or I just have a different way of thinking or a background that may be different, then I may be able to pull things out and kind of like separate it out and say, this cool, this ain't cool. At the end of the day, it's like, look, you don't have to be with me. I would really caution people, and I don't really get too caught up in like dating ages. I think once you're past a certain age, it's a little bit different.
What would be that age if you were just to throw it out there?
Man, it's not she 25. He 38. He been famous.
What is that? 14 years? 13 years?
13. He been famous a long time.
Yeah.
When you've been famous a long time, you age fast, like as far as your life experiences.
Yes.
I
And she
mean, so
just,
I,
And he's
just the
white,
first one.
and he white famous. So you know he been in the shenanigans for a long, long
Right.
time.
And it's a lot,
You
it's a
know,
lots of rumors and things
yeah,
about his private
you
life.
know, their
yeah,
culture is different. He been grown
yeah.
since 13, probably.
Yeah, I ain't even. I'm not, but
He
I'm.
was
It's,
kind of a
yeah,
child star, so he
he
probably has
was.
like,
He's been
yeah,
around for a while,
gone
so it's
through a
like.
lot.
So I don't, what I would say. I don't know. I don't want to open that can of worms. I guess if she was like 28 to 30, maybe I would see it a
Hmm.
little bit different because I know I just speak for me. When I
Hmm.
when I got past 25, things shifted for me differently than it
Hmm.
was when I was 24 or 23. And I don't know if it's that like hump between 25 and 20 and 30, um, to where like you might have more space to date somebody older than you. But
Hmm.
at 25, for me personally, I couldn't I couldn't have dated somebody with that much age on me because while I, might be mature and whatever and a little bit settled, I'm also like, yo, I'm finna go ahead and have a good time. Me, you know what I'm
Yeah, that's
saying?
what I was
Like,
about to say.
and
If
I'm
I
gonna
did
hang
it,
out with
couldn't be
friends my
serious.
age because we doing my age stuff.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
me being 44,
I'm
I got
sorry. I'm
friends
laughing from
who
personal
were
experience.
in their 30s and 20s and stuff like that because of how work dynamics can be. You can be friends with people, but also it's like,
Hmm.
but when it comes to kicking it, we kicking it two different ways. I ain't trying
Right.
to go to body party. Give me a
Hmm.
house party and some spades, and I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But when I was
Will there
23 and
be
24,
food?
yes, but when I was 23 and 24, yo, get me to the club on Thursday night and let's see what's popping. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I was still living in Jacksonville, so my life was different. I think
Hmm.
you got
See,
to be
sometimes
careful with
it's
that stuff.
crazy because even if you talk to sometimes if you talk to like some older dudes, their lifestyle is like that too. Like
They
they
be in the
really be in
streets.
the clubs with
Oh,
they,
the worst thing is to get an
yeah,
old young man because let me
yeah,
tell you.
yeah. So that's
And
that's how they met him.
No, for real.
That's how they
He in the
met
hookah
him.
lounge with me
Yeah, so that's the
on
only
ladies'
thing.
night.
Sometimes when you date older guys, the only difference in them and younger dudes is they probably have a 401k plan and a job
With
with
that,
benefits, and they're
with that,
40 some years old. That's the only
right.
difference. They listen to the same music, they watch the same stuff, they wear the same clothes, and they
They
like the
be knowing
same
more lyrics
girl.
than me.
So
because they be doing their research.
yeah, right. They gotta live their
Right.
raps.
Which then be coming across a little. I ain't even gonna bring it up. Never mind. Because then it's like, how many young women do you be dating?
Sir.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. When it comes to like natural connection and vibes, those things, age, it may not take age may not be a factor in some of that. But when you start
Mm-hmm.
breaking down the everyday life of this
Mm-hmm.
and doing the math and spending time with each other's peoples, that's when it starts to be like, you know what, hold on. This is a big difference. Now, I've met people and I've been like, you know what, you'll probably end up, even in counseling situations, I'd be like, the way you live your life, you'll probably end up with somebody slightly older than you just because of psychologically where they may be in life. But I may be thinking
Mm-hmm.
like 3 or 4 years older. You know what I'm saying? 5 years older,
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
13
Not a
years older. You
decade.
know what I'm saying? Like, and so because so I don't know. Like, but I've had people I've known personally be in relationships where there's large age gaps, and some of them work and some of them don't. Um, but for these two individuals, like, yo, what's a younger life than being a surf instructor, a model,
On
you know what I'm
Instagram.
saying? Having your friends and y'all having a great time wilding out.
And they
And then the
toxic.
older dude don't like your young wild friends, don't want you taking pictures. You know what I'm saying?
Don't
Like
want you being
it's
sexy on the internet.
Right.
yeah.
Go
It's like
put your slip on.
yeah, you know. And so it's just like, I mean, it looks very much like, when you bring in the age part of it, this looks like a older dude who was like, you know what? I thought I can handle a 25-year-old swim instructor or surfboard
And that's how
instructor
they be.
who out here having a good time. And obviously, we on two different pages.
She trying to have too much of a good time. He was just trying to have. He was trying
Listen,
to have
she like,
a
look,
decent time.
Slow down.
have your relationships. I'm having my fun. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mhm.
So,
Oh,
but I tell you,
yeah.
it always surprises me though. Like I see a lot of guys with younger women, and I just be like, where's the connection outside of the attraction y'all two have to each other? What else is there?
Is it when you see it, is it a lot of times is the man what society would deem like successful or doing well for himself? And do you think that
I
might be
think
a part of the attraction or the appeal?
I think it's a few things. Um, I think people think younger people are easier. When I say
Mhm.
easier, I mean like come with less baggage.
Yep.
And that's not necessarily the case. I think that's what people believe it to be. When you have somebody who has more lived experience and kind of understands what they want and don't want, some people don't want to navigate that. Some people get to a certain age, and this is just me being older as I am now, and knowing people my age and older. And in a lot of cases, these people have already been through like the long-term relationship, how the family interaction and dynamics, and built the relationships and all this stuff, and blah blah blah, and everything connected to it. And they don't want to do all that work again. They
Yeah.
want something easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be low stress. It's going to be a low lift.
Yeah.
You got your thing, I got mine, and there's no more in between. Like, it's a lot of work that goes into a long-term relationship, even outside of just what you two have together. Like my wife's cousins are my cousins. It ain't these my wife cousins. Some of these guys were
Mm-hmm.
babies when I came in the picture. They grown men now.
Mhm.
We're 8, 9 years old, 10 years old. Now these jokers close to 30, and it's like when and it's just like, man, like, and I'm more like an uncle than a cousin. Now the ideal, like, all right, let's reshuffle the deck and do that with somebody else.
That does but God forbid, would you? Or is it like, nah, I'm gonna make this work? Like how some people are like, you know what, we've been together too long not
Listen,
to be
ride this
together.
out. Ride this out.
Till the
Let me tell
wheels
you,
fall
man. And
off.
I ain't even it ain't even a hypothetical, whatever. Like, I don't do too many
Mm-hmm.
hypotheticals. We riding this out. I'd just be a single father trying to raise my kids the best way I could until they told me to go find somebody else. Like I wouldn't even. It's because I know me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never been that dude that people was like, you know, wanting to be with me other than wanting to be in a relationship with me. I wasn't like the guy that
You're a
people was trying to have
relationship
sneaky
guy.
links with. It was always like great to meet my parents. Like, so it's always been
Mm-hmm.
that with me, and I'm fine with that because when I tried to be something beyond that, that wasn't me to who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when I'm in something, I'm in something. So it's like, so I know me, and at this point, it's my wife and my kids, and that's it. And God forbid if something would have ever happened, then it'll just be, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'll be so focused on my kids, I wouldn't even be suitable to date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because then one of my best friends is that way. I'd be like, bro, but at the same time, he is so invested as a father. I'd be like, you know what? I ain't mad at you.
And
You know
I
what I'm
respect
saying?
that because it's like your kids should come first at that point. It's like,
Yeah,
until they good and grown and taking
Yeah.
care of themselves, then that
yeah.
should be your everyday focus.
But nah, but just set the record straight. There ain't no outs
Ain't
on
none of
this.
that.
We riding this out. We're gonna be
Till death do
listen,
us part. We for
listen.
lifers, as the kids say. We
We'll have two
we
houses in the same neighborhood if we have to. You know what I'm saying? Just,
you gonna be knocking on the door every
Right.
night. I'm
yeah,
just checking in on you just to
That's
yeah.
what
see.
Jada told Will. She said, "You go to your end of the house. I go to my end of the
We don't
house.
need to talk about them though,
We in
because
the
we don't
same
know what's
house."
going on in between them
That was a
hallways
light.
on
It's a
on
light
each side of
example.
the house.
It's a red light between them hallways.
Right, we don't know what's going on.
It's a whole
Wait a minute,
row of red lights.
I don't want to know. When I saw that she was coming out with a book, I was like, no, 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 no,
Stop.
no, 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 no.
Immediately no.
Call the publishing company and tell them to stop the presses
Call the
because this is going to
police.
be a hot mess.
Hey, capitalism, man. That's what it is.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness, because
Capitalism.
don't even want to see what's gonna be in that book.
But I tell you what, though, shout out to Jonah for trying to send that very well crafted message.
Right. I think it was very respectful.
Try.
It wasn't emotional abuse. He has his preferences, and they sound like the preferences of somebody who is 38 and she's 25, and she's living a life he probably used to live, as far as like carefree and kind of like doing it. Whatever day it is the day it is, and he's probably shifted beyond that. But you can't expect. I mean, that's the thing. Like when you date people when there's an age gap, man, where are you in life?
Yeah. I know they broke up and he just had a baby, but I'm not sure how old the girl is. Who?
He just had a baby?
Yeah, on that link you put in the notes.
You know what? That's what this is about. Homegirl put the messages out because she had a baby. He had a baby with somebody. Like you said, it's always something else going on.
Something else. That's what this is. You want to have a baby? I got something.
This is the white version of Mariah Mills. She mad because the baby wasn't hers.
Yeah, well, that was in the link.
Got
in
that
the
long money.
She said, I was there for 2 years trying to get pregnant, and this new girl just walks in and
not wearing no swimsuit, low length dresses.
She in there with a conservative business suit on.
Right. Now she wearing what the pilgrims used to wear. She got the little thing around her head.
The handmaid tails.
With the baby.
Working at a daycare, like the exact opposite of what teacher swim classes of 5-year-olds. Like the exact opposite of what this other person did.
That was jealousy.
Don't even have an Instagram.
I be putting links, and sometimes I don't read the full articles. I know I'm a bad journalist. So I didn't know he had a baby.
We don't research this stuff thoroughly. We just go off what we see.
I researched, but I didn't read the full. I read the text messages, and I put a link for further info. But I just, I was.
I only read through it because I knew what was going on, but I didn't know what was going on. Because sometimes, like we said earlier, when I see stuff like this in the media, I be like, "Oh, that's some European business." So I just keep scrolling. So I didn't really
I wasn't even gonna bring it up until everybody was like, "Oh my goodness, this is emotional abuse. This is controlling. This is like da 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 da." And I'm like, I don't know if I would go as far to say any of that. I just feel like, this is somebody saying this is what I like and this is what I don't like. You can take it or you can leave it. It's been nice knowing you.
She should have just texted back and said, nah, I'm good. Like, this was fun. And
and she didn't post her response, no way. That's the sad part. It's always their message. It's never the full message. It's never what you said back.
I gotta get y'all on my side. I don't need y'all.
If I'm gonna post receipts, I'm gonna post the full receipts. I
ain't got no receipts. I don't need my message. Gonna be more than 2 sentences. You ain't gonna get no whole lot out of me in general.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Do you want to?
That was a lot of conversation.
Yeah.
We gonna have to do a part 2 with her.
Yeah.
Because the technical difficulty threw us off.
A little bit. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I wanted to just hit on. I don't know. Do you feel like talking about the male versus female thing, Herb?
What male versus female thing?
Why this is such a popular topic nowadays with the kiddos and the podcast, and why everybody's trying to tell men how to be men and women how to be women, and why people can't just be who they are and mind their business. And if you like somebody, you like them. If you don't, you don't.
It's a sad world we live in. I got so many feelings about stuff like that, and it doesn't even come down to like male versus female. It comes down to, so I'll remember we used to do the Black Experience things on campus.
Mm-hmm.
One of the conversations,
like the brotherless talks and the sisterless talks, and that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One of the conversations when we brought the two groups together, it would always be like, because we would say this is not like a male versus female conversation. The conversation would always end up with, we started out with, what was your representation of relationship growing up? What did you see? Mm-hmm. And how did what you see, how does that impact how you do relationships now? So when I hear conversations like this, from a public health standpoint, from a counseling standpoint, as a people, it's so many factors that like go into it. as to why people are having these conversations at the rate they are. And many
Yeah.
people just don't even know what like healthy relationship look like.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then all the media connected, and especially to Black relationship, like 99% of it is connected to like the worst aspects of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Yeah.
most extreme versions of it. Like, you'll
Mm-hmm.
think Black men are the most horrible fathers on earth. And you know what? For a time period, it was a struggle, and it was a struggle that was created intentionally when you think about, imprisonment and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, and
Right.
like the welfare
Right.
system.
Right.
And numbers also show that Black fathers now are the most active fathers out of all fathers when it comes to like certain data. And so, um, but that stuff is not shown. We get the,
Mm-hmm.
and it's celebrated. Like,
Mm-hmm.
look at the BET Awards. I mean, like, I'm all about
Oh
like,
my goodness.
music or whatever, but I mean, my goodness, like, not to say it's only music, because it's not. I think the music is a byproduct of a societal injustices, societal like structures that like keep people in a certain place, and out of
Mm-hmm.
that is born generations of people growing up in dysfunctional households, imprisonment, poverty, drugs, lack of
Mm-hmm.
resources, and
Abuse.
then abuse, and then over celebrating the ones that quote unquote make it out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say they shouldn't be celebrated, but also it's like we are going to over highlight the ones who made it out, by also having to like sell the drugs or do whatever in the spaces they were in, because these situations were in most cases created for them to be that way. And we're
Mm-hmm.
going to under highlight anybody that takes the traditional route to success and doesn't like get drafted or whatever, but
Yep.
gets a trade or gets a degree and marries somebody, and they build a good life for themselves and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. And so when I like see a lot of this stuff now, I just go back and be like, you know what, whoever orchestrated this had this in mind. And I try not to sound like
Mm-hmm.
a conspiracy theorist, but I think that's supported by
No, it's
like
real. No,
societal
it's true.
trends and data.
It is real.
I
Yeah.
mean, think about it. Before
It's
the
really
like I
sad.
think in the 1960s or 1950s, 1960s, like 80 some odd percent of Black homes were two-parent homes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
By the 80s, that number plummeted. Now you think
Because
Black
of
folks
crack
just
and
yeah,
drugs and all
you
that.
think Black
Mm-hmm.
folks just stopped loving each other? No. All the civil rights leaders, all the Black nationalist leaders, all the whatever leaders were killed in jail.
Mm-hmm. Or put in jail. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Mm-hmm.
you start the welfare system that um you're
Didn't want men to be in the home anyway.
they don't want men to be in the home. So you're
Mm-hmm.
incentivized not to have men there.
Men in the house. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then those same men, you know, um, face barriers to getting jobs that they can afford to like move their families out of those spaces if they
Mm-hmm.
wanted
Mm-hmm.
to. And so then you flood those communities with drugs, and you start slapping all kinds of crimes on everything. And now these
Right.
jokers
And then
have
the
a
street
record.
strike rule. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you got any version of a record,
Yep.
now you're, according to the Constitution, able to be a slave again, because it's slavery under a different name. It's the prison
Yeah.
system. And like 1 in 3 Black men carry some kind of,
Mm-hmm.
like federal charge or some kind of like, interaction with like the prison system or jail system in some form or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And
Even if they get out, you really still, it's hard to get a
yeah,
job. You can't
Yeah.
vote sometimes,
And your mindset is different, especially,
Yeah.
because you've been in prison. So it's like you get out of prison. Sometimes a lot of people don't even know how to adjust.
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's not like that was pleasant. So
no,
they come out worse than they went in.
yeah. And so you have all those factors. And then you have the movies, then you have the music, and who controls the movies and the music as far as like what gets radio play. I
White
saw
man.
I saw one of Black exploitation movie clips
What Soldier Boy said.
on Instagram the other day, and this was like a well-known Juilliard trained Black actor But in the 70s, when black people couldn't get jobs in film, he was playing a pimp, talking to these jokers like crazy. And I'm like, it was
Wow.
the Colonel from Different World.
Oh
Oh, Colin
wow.
Taylor.
This dude is a
Oh yeah, he
classically
was in a
trained
lot of movies like
actor.
that.
But you know what I'm saying? So
I
it's
didn't even know
like,
he went to Juilliard.
I
Wow.
mean, these dudes are classically trained individuals, and
You
it's
know, he
like,
was married to Aretha Franklin.
and yeah. And so
Hmm.
you see stuff like that, and it's
Wow.
like, now who else culture has that sort of imaging at broad spectrum for people to see and consume? Like who else?
And
But
even he probably couldn't even get a job unless he acted like that. Because even
exactly.
now, I'm listening to reading Tabitha Brown's book, and she always talks about how when she was trying to be an actress, she covered up her accent for such a long time because she would go into auditions and they would be like, "Ugh," like, why you talk like that? Or, can you straighten your hair? Or can you be more like black girl? And that always meant like more urban. Like they wanted her to be more the roles that Lala get
Ghetto.
every goddamn time she in a
Hood.
movie. And so he probably couldn't even work if
And that
you,
was the
you
plight
know,
of so many people. And it's like,
yeah.
so you keep having that, and you keep having that, and you got the 1994 crime bill that, with mandatory minimums and all these different things, and it's like, it. And now what you have are people who have almost like two generations into this. I was
Hmm.
born, like I said, I was born in '79, so I grew up with rap. Now you got
Mm-hmm.
people who's like when Juvenile, Tiny Desk.
Hmm.
I
Oh,
mean, street classic.
beautiful.
It hit.
Amazing.
Man,
Hmm.
Amazing.
go back and listen to the lyrics, yo. Some of them lyrics, I was
Crazy. No, I was listening the whole time when I was listening. I was like,
those
this
were
would not, I
acoustics.
don't know if this would fly if this came out nowadays. I don't even know. I mean, I know songs
Well,
go
it does
wild,
because it's worse now.
but I
But
feel like,
hearing over
mm,
acoustic, I was like, whoo.
oh no, it was
I
beautiful.
know,
It
right?
was beautiful. Every time I hear the Black People's like acoustic version on Tiny Desk, I'm like, can y'all just get a band again? I know DJs are cool, but can we
Yeah.
just get some bands again and a mic?
But man, but think about like, the lyrics in Juvenile. And some of the, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
now that's for the 99 and 2000. All right. I was on the
Mm-hmm.
yard in 99 2000. Like, we old, we got kids,
Hmm.
so it's like, now, if that's what you grew up on and you grew up in dysfunction, and not to say everybody who listens to that and loves that grew up in dysfunction, but for the ones who
Mm-hmm.
did, then what is your child growing up in? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think to get into that original question, to me, it's like, it's a culmination of multiple things that have like led us to this point, and here we are now, just dealing with it,
Hmm.
in the way we're having to deal with it, and seeing some of these topics take place, and then you have these extremities of like what women think, what men think,
Hmm.
and of course, who gets the most play? Somebody gonna say the most random, radical stuff, male or
Of
female.
course.
Outlandish.
Of course.
Like, yo, where are the sensible, like, you know, healthy middle
Yeah,
individuals to kind of
right.
quote me and just be like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I like this and I
You be
like this.
thinking that
I
when
can
you hear our
understand.
clips heard, when you see us, you be thinking that we not in the middle.
No, I think y'all hilarious, man. Y'all hilarious.
You
But
can
I mean,
tell
but you gotta
us.
think
We
of,
want feedback.
Yeah,
but
I be
because,
wanting people to come in. I actually be wanting people to like disagree, and I'm happy anytime somebody leave a comment and they be like, they don't know what they talking about. I be like, yay,
Right.
thank you for
first off, I ain't gonna
coming.
never be in the comment section that heavy. I check out before I do all
You
that.
gonna hit us with a thumbs up.
But
Good job.
but then but I
What
listen
Whitney
to Kev on
said.
Stage and that chick Angel. Like I like
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
I
I
love
like
that
dialogue.
podcast.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's just some stuff that's like, but it's okay for some stuff not to be my cup of tea.
Right.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it
Yeah.
just is. Like I don't listen to too many relationship conversations online. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I just don't. I don't listen to political stuff. I don't listen to too much stuff about race, to be honest, because as somebody who like studies some of this stuff, when I hear certain
Mm-hmm.
conversations, I'm kind of like, we off point here,
Mm-hmm.
because people
Mm.
who look like me can be just as extreme and radical in the wrong direction as people who don't look like me and are perceived to be racist. When
Mm-hmm.
you have like bad information is bad information.
Right.
Damaging information, it can be damaging regardless of who's saying it. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
just careful about like who I listen to, what I take in, and when it comes to you all and what I listen to with you all, it's always like, because y'all keep a good bit of humor to it,
Mm-hmm.
and but y'all also too have like different personalities.
Thank
When
you.
I do be like,
Finally, somebody realizes because people be like,
Yeah.
y'all be da 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 da, y'all both hate men and da 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 da, and I be
I'm
like,
like,
no,
we
we.
don't be agreeing half the time.
Usually Jessica has the more sane point of view, and I'm the one who's like, no, off with their head. I'm going the dramatic route. I'm going to 10 every single time.
and so for me, whenever sometimes I see something, I be like, all right, y'all need me on the show. Sometimes I'll be saying something like, boy, y'all need me up in the room. Add some balance to
Well,
this.
we appreciate having you up in the room today, and
Yes.
Yeah.
we appreciate your insight. Y'all both gave me a different insight on the Kiki Palmer thing because I don't like the baby daddy. It is
But
what it
what's not
is.
to like?
Okay.
You know what I'm
Um,
saying?
Leave
I
Rico
just to
Suave
me again,
alone.
it felt malicious. Like it's
You
just
can
like, and I guess
save
that's
this album
because
though.
I don't have kids, but it's just like if I just gave birth to a kid and like I was trying to, you hear the women talk about the whole postpartum thing and trying to get your body back and sexy back and feeling comfortable. And it's like if I was going through that, or if or anything, it's like for your father of your child to go on the internet talking about what you had on. It's just kind of like, well, damn, like I'm trying to do something.
Say this, Albany, and I say this to anybody.
Hmm.
Just say I don't like that.
Mm.
Hmm.
Not that.
You know, and that I say that to people when because we live in a society of extremes, so everything's either all bad or all good.
Mm.
All right. But I grew up, I guess I was born in 1979. My grandma had one of them flour things. You had to sift the flour.
I was born in 1997.
So, but the thing is, when you sift flour, you got to it's sifting. And when it gets stuck,
Hmm.
you got to bang it and you got to keep sifting. We don't
Hmm.
sift. If we get one bit of resistance, throw the whole thing away because it's all bad.
We be mad.
Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this, but it doesn't mean I make my whole judgment about you.
Mm.
Because if I do
Mm-hmm.
that with everything, then nobody's going to be in the good pile. Everybody's going to end up in the bad pile because our expectations aren't going to be realistic. Guess what? All right. If she would have posted that and he was out here, hunched up on Anita Baker or something like that when she was singing, and she posted that, they'd be like, he need to go take himself home. And
Exactly.
then some people are going to be
Exactly.
like, oh, she need to chill. Guess what? That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we're going to keep arguing. They're going to be at home chilling. And
Exactly.
it's like,
Right.
so you know
At
what?
home kissing, raising their
That's
kid.
foul. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
foul. Now some stuff is so foul was like I can't fool with you. But then is
Hmm.
everything that foul to why I can't fool with you? Is every behavior that a guy does that is not, doesn't line up with how we feel like men should behave in relationships, the most toxic thing, and he goes in the category with all these other like extremely toxic individuals. And
Mm-hmm.
he
Hmm.
just sent that one tweet. You know what I'm saying? Like, is he
Yeah.
like that? Is he like over here with R. Kelly now? Like, is he over here with, you know, Ike Turner? Like, I mean, who is he like?
Right.
Who is sitting next to?
Right.
You'll think
Behaving
so
that
if
kind of
you
tweet.
scroll through Twitter.
Yeah, and it's like,
The way they got him up off the whole app, yes.
yeah, so it's like, yo, like that ain't. We have to be careful with that
Yeah, that's not it.
because life is not meant to be lived in those kinds of extremes. Because while
Mm-mm.
you're having those extreme like judgments, you also are living the life as a human who is imperfect and who is going to mess up.
You gonna
And
mess up
you're going to
too.
want some grace when you mess up.
Hmm.
You are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, I had a bad moment. I had a bad day, such and such. My dog, got sick, which is okay. That's reasonable. But based on the rules that we've decided now, ain't no room,
No forgiveness.
ain't no grace, ain't
Yeah.
no
Right.
compassion, ain't no empathy, you know. And
Even
it's
if you in a romantic relationship with somebody and you like or you love them, you're not gonna like everything they do.
no.
Man,
True.
I
I
have had to
told
learn that you just don't like the niggas sometimes. Tuesday might not be all day.
you.
Yeah.
I get that now because
Yeah.
sometimes I'm low key like that because sometimes when I get mad, I be like, "Ooh, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to
Yeah.
go."
And so I think so we gotta we so when I
But the
think
next
about
day
some of
I
these
be good.
conversations, when I think about some of the conversations these people are having, I think that like the reasonable, sensible people have to be like, you know what, let me let this mellow a little bit. Let me
Mm-hmm.
think this through. Let my emotions flow through before I start speaking. And
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
then make some like really like thought out decisions. Like, okay, now that I got that out, what as it settles, what am I really thinking?
Yeah,
You
keep
know,
it
what's
respectful.
and if I'm really this extreme, like what's really gotten that? Is it that person or is it like something else I'm feeling? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the counseling me kind of getting into that part. Like, what's really driving the ship here? Now, if you've had
So basically, the
somebody,
internet needs therapy, real
yeah,
therapy, not the therapy people be talking about online and they
not
be sending tweets and stuff about, but actually go sit down and talk to somebody.
yeah, not 5 tips on how to feel better in 2 days. Like that, uh, you know what I'm saying? So,
Alex
but I think
L, you get out of here.
so, but I think so I think that's part of it. Like, we gotta be more sensible.
Hmm.
We gotta be more sensible. Like, and understand we growing and we learning. And
Mm-hmm.
if we growing and learning, that means somebody else also growing and learning.
Yeah.
And we
Period.
also got to be able to be like checked and corrected. That people don't know how to handle correction.
That's true.
People don't know how to be told something they won't want to hear. And it's like, you know what? You cool and all, but this stuff and this stuff and this stuff I don't like. And instead of a person being like, you know what? Do I need to like receive any of this? Do I need to like evaluate myself? Or is it you said something I don't want? So all of a sudden everything you said was wrong. And now I
Right.
gotta like push you completely away. Well, you know what? You might need to step away from them trash friends of yours.
Mm-hmm. People
You
don't be
know what?
wanting to have no
You
accountability.
might need to take a step back from that. And now
Mhm.
the whole modeling thing, I was a little overboard on that. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, you know what I'm saying, like your friends really ain't best for you. And you know what? But you got to be adult enough to be able to say, you know what, you might be right. Versus like anything I hear I don't like, then it's automatically wrong. Let me tell you something. Just because you offended, don't mean it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn that.
People take offense
Mhm.
as automatically being wrong. You offended me, so it's wrong. Nah, you offended me because you was doing something you shouldn't have been doing,
Right. It might have
and
hit you
you
before.
might need to
Right.
reevaluate that, and that's okay. Like, bro,
Sometimes
it's
you got to check yourself.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay, man. But folks just you know, but it's they ain't get there by themselves. Because I can talk
Yeah.
all day about how I was raised with my grandparents, and we got this, and this. But if I ain't pass that on to my kids, it don't magically go to them. And I ain't got to do the
Yeah.
stuff that was done to me. But as far as like, structure, discipline, respect in healthy
Hmm.
ways, love, affirmation, you going through tough times and having to figure some stuff out on your own so you can grow and develop. If I ain't giving you that stuff, you just ain't magically gonna get it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And some of these people, they don't have nobody giving them nothing.
Nah. But
Yeah.
if I
So
just say, you know
yeah.
what, when I was a kid, my mama couldn't afford this. I'm gonna get you everything I couldn't get. I'm gonna do everything my mama couldn't do from one perspective, but then don't give her the stuff or them the stuff that I got from another perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Like but I'm sorry, I can go on all night. We got to do a part two to this because I promise you, it's so much conversation that needs to
No,
happen.
we would love to
Yeah,
have you back because I probably
yeah.
needed myself. That's probably why I ain't got
Yeah.
nobody now. And since me and Jessica can't be friends if she get married on me, I gotta hurry up and find my man. So
Hey,
if
listen,
anybody's
you
out
better be
there,
hey, you better hustle up, have somebody both of y'all can be friends with.
right? I'm like, look, if she gonna kick me to the curb if she get married, I don't know how much longer I got. So I'm gonna have to. I
Man.
feel like I got 2.5 years. I gotta kick it in a gear. I got a job. I cook and clean when you nice to me.
Put your bullet points out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my John Hill. These are my boundaries. I have
Plain
a
and
job.
simple.
have a job, have health insurance, and be nice to me. Thank you. Those are
Have
my
coverage.
boundaries.
Have coverage.
Okay.
Yes.
Have
Take
coverage.
coverage.
Have a dental plan, eye plan, those things.
Have a dental plan to actually
Yes.
go to the dentist.
Please, an actual dentist. Know your dentist by name. Know the dental place.
All right now.
Cause some of y'all teeth is a little jacked up.
You had to be specific with Jesus sometimes. All the time.
The emphasis on the job and on place. But
um
anyways, we appreciate y'all watching. We appreciate her for coming and joining us again on this episode. It's always good to have his input. He always makes me feel like I've matured up 5 notches after I talk to him. I've grown some. I'm gonna leave this conversation and not go cut somebody out. So that's probably wonderful on their end. Please make sure y'all follow us. It's always down at the bottom of the page at _BBPC. Herb, do you want them to follow you on anything?
You
Or
can send me a request. My page is private now, but healthier Herb. Healthier
we've been
underscore
there.
Herb. Healthier underscore Herb. Hey, listen, man, I had to, I normally keep my page
He's a
up, but
professional. He's
I
a
had to make some
professional.
changes, yo.
I had to do the
And,
same thing when I was trying to get
had
my job, and then I was just like, you know what?
filter out
Instagram
some
is gonna
stuff,
be my
man.
online my online.
I'll put it
persona.
in the description box. So if you so choose to accept them, then sure.
You know,
Yes.
hey, I live a simple life, but sometimes people want to take that and make more of it than what it is.
Yeah.
But ain't nothing wrong with simple because each of us we live in our own lives and what works for you, may not work for the next
Oh, yeah.
person, and what works for them may not work for you. You living the life that God
Boundaries.
intended you to
Man,
do. You on your
boundaries.
path.
Let me tell you, I post a lot more freely now that my page is blocked up.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I just be like, you know
When my
what?
page was private, let me tell you, nothing was better than a private page with the close friends. Oh.
Listen, my close friends be getting a full dose.
Let me tell you.
I need
And
to
every week I take more people out because I'm like, this is still too many people. This is still too many people.
One time, I think some automatic setting made like most of my friend list close friends. I had to go back and clear everybody out. I said, "Who are all these people?"
It probably was a glitch. It was like, let me just
Yeah.
add, especially if you don't follow a lot of people, it probably just automatically added everybody.
I was like, "Hold on, pause on this." But yeah,
Well, make sure y'all follow us again. Thank you, Herb, so much. We appreciate y'all. We will have all the links to everything below as usual. And we will catch y'all next week in the next episode.
Time. Bye.
Baby, wanna ask you lady for a ticket out of town. So can I get a window seat? Hey.